So today I'm here to record the video review slash recap of How to Get Away with Murder. Okay, so this is season 2, episode 13, titled Something Bad Happened. And as we all know, if you have watched the show already, a lot of bad things happen. Nothing but bad happens in How to Get Away with Murder. But anywho, so much was jam-packed into this week's episode of How to Get Away with Murder. I don't even know if I can keep up with everything. But let's just recap the highlights, shall we? Okay, anyways, so How to Get Away with Murder, it's a continuation from last week's episode. So, of course, they're being blackmailed by who we presume to be Phillip, and they received a video basically that he's stalking them because he had a video of Annalise and Nate from that morning or the night before. So clearly Phillip is in town and he's watching them. So this episode he sends another video through what does he send it through? Oh, of Michaela talking to Caleb really close to him in front of his house that morning. Mind you, they are all freaked out. They feel like, oh my gosh, they're going to get hurt. They all need to get together and basically have like a sleepover so they all can stay in the same place so they can make sure everyone's safe. So, I did forget to mention last week, Connor tells Oliver, hey, I'm applying for Stanford Law School, and if I get it, I want you to go with me. Because he's a little freaked out. He doesn't know what's going to happen with this whole situation. Understandable. This week, when they're all in the sleepover, you can tell that him and Michaela, they act like they don't really care for each other, or they're annoyed by one another, or they always have these like smart aleck conversations back and forth. But really, they're like brother and sister, and they really like have grown to love each other. So she tells him, you cannot leave me. Like, you cannot leave me here with all of this that's going on. And he said, don't worry, I probably won't get in anyway. And she said, of course not. Like, you can't even get in if you're in the top 10. Like, they rarely accept transfers. But that kind of makes me believe that they probably will accept him. So, anywho, this episode went back and forth a lot between the present time and in the past when Christoph, aka Wes, was a child. Okay, so this entire episode, of course, that big question is, did Christoph kill his mother? Well, he can't remember. So he's going back and forth to his therapist, the doctor, whatever the case. He's going to her to try to get her to help him to recant these memories because perhaps he's blocked them out in his mind somewhere. So, I really don't understand why he would be talking to her. I understand that there is a patient-doctor confidentiality, but if it involves, like, if it's risking someone's safety, then I believe then she would be obligated to talk, to say something. And he even spills the beans like, hey, you don't really know me. I might look like this little innocent little, oh, I'm so scared, and oh, you can tell me anything. Oh, I would never do anything, but you don't know the things that I've done. So I could be capable of killing her. And I'm thinking, Wes, why would you say that? Okay, he's just too vulnerable right now. Meanwhile, Laurel keeps calling him. He's not picking up the phone. Just the same as Frank was calling Laurel last week and she wasn't picking up the phone. He's trying to put all the pieces of the puzzle together and trying to remember what happened that day that he found his mom on the floor. Side note, he did remember having the knife in his hand and looking at his mom basically dying. And so he's trying to figure out from there what happened before that, what happened after that. Okay, so Annalise, flashback 10 years later, her and Eve, which is the one that she was in a relationship a long time ago, we find out a little bit more of their history, and they're connected to this case with Wes's mother. Okay, so the easiest way to break this down, the mother was supposed to testify in court. She didn't want to. Every single time Annalise would try to talk her back into it again, she would agree to it, and then she would be on the run, ready to leave. Okay, so basically they had to go and capture her. They, as in the police, had to keep her inside of the jail and questioning. And Eve went in there and basically scared her. And nothing was going to happen, but she basically told her, "Hey, I know that you're here illegally and we could deport you, but your son was born here, so he would be here, so you would be without him. So you need to cooperate and you need to testify in court." So she's really freaked out. She's really scared. Annalise is like, "Thank you for doing this for me." And Eve says she feels like a horrible person. And they hadn't seen each other in 3 years at this point. Well, then Annalise stands up to say, "Ta-da! Bun in the oven." And then she says, "By who, Sam?" Yes, it is by Sam. And it's a boy. Okay, so Eve is not very excited about that because her and Annalise, I guess they had like a bad separation. Annalise kept telling her, "Well, I just simply didn't want to be with you anymore because I'm not gay, you are. Like, I just needed somebody to love me." And then Eve says, "You're just scared because it was getting too serious." Now, I don't really know because I really think that that could be true, what Annalise was saying, that she just needed somebody to love her. Because Nate showed her the type of attention that her husband didn't show her. He showed her that he actually cared in spite of everything that was going on, and she wasn't getting that from her husband. So that was just somebody like giving her the love and attention that she needed at the time. And she grew to love him out of that, but I believe with her and Nate, it just started as like a lust type of relationship. So that could be true with Eve. Not very sure. Eve is kind of salty about the whole thing about Annalise being a mother, but she soon gets over it. Okay, back to present time. Keating 5, extremely scared. They don't know what's going on. They're still paranoid. I guess, Annalise tried to go get them immunity to try to figure out where these signals are coming from, where Phillip is, so that the police could track him down. Well, the police tried to trick Annalise and say, "Oh, we're going to give you immunity," but really they were trying to get a search warrant to search her house. So, the Keating 5 and Bonnie, they play a trick on them and make it seem as if they got the go ahead from the judge, and they didn't. And so they were placed in a position where they were illegally searching Annalise's house. So at that point, the DA had to grant her and the kids immunity from whatever images they would see in that video. Okay, because she's scared for their life and for her life. Okay, so let's get back to the west part of the story. They're going back and forth between her side of the story and Wes's side of the story, what he remembers and what she remembers. Well, of course, she knows the whole truth. And so Laurel gets mad at her because she says, "Why would you give him this file to begin with? You need to be there for him. I'm done. It's now your responsibility. And you need to make sure he's okay because you know that Phillip is on the loose." Okay, so Annalise, I think that she doesn't want to tell Wes and she doesn't want to have this conversation with him because she knows exactly what happened. And it kind of puts her at fault to an extent. And she doesn't know how Wes will react to her. So, for instance, when the lady, Wes's mom, was trying to, like, flee the country so that she wouldn't have to testify, she had Wes in the car with her. Wes was a little stubborn little boy, just like he's a stubborn adult, and he just gets out the car and just starts running. I would have flipped out. So the mom goes home. She's freaking out. Annalise comes to check on her to say, you know, why are you running? Why aren't you testifying? She said, "You don't know the type of person he is. Nothing's going to be okay. Nothing's going to be okay. Like, he's going to make my life miserable, all of this stuff. You know what? You just take care of my son. Make sure my son is okay." Basically, I'm in too deep. There's nothing I can do at this point. This is the part that freaked me out, okay? She gets that knife while she is turned around to the sink, gets the knife, and shoves it out. The stupid computer went out. Okay, anyways, she gets the knife, shoves it into her neck. This is the scariest thing I've ever watched on TV because this was so real, it was unreal. if that made sense. It was so freaking, like, it looked like real life. Like, I know she doesn't have a stunt double, like, stabbing herself in the neck, and it was just crazy. Like, she played that part so well. She was, like, shaking, and, it really seemed like she was losing a lot of blood, and she was just, it was amazing how she played that part. It was a little too real, to the point where I didn't want to watch, but I did want to watch, but I didn't. It was just a lot. So, of course, like, Annalise freaks out. Like, how you just gonna do this? Like, right in front, what are you doing? You have a kid. Like, I would have been freaking out. Like, my automatic reaction would have been, oh my gosh, I have to call 911. And that was Annalise's automatic reaction. However, being a lawyer, she thought of it, this is not gonna look good, especially since I'm connected to the case that she's supposed to be testifying in, that she's ran away from millions of times now. I can't do this. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to save her. I'm not a doctor. Let me just get myself out of this situation. Although this is like heartbreaking, this is traumatic, but I have to go because I cannot be caught here as if I had something to do with it. So then she leaves out. She hears somebody coming down the hall, so she goes and hides on the other side of the hall. Meanwhile, it's Wes that went in there and found his mom, which is very traumatizing for a child. He doesn't know what to do, so quite naturally, he pulls the knife out of her neck, not knowing that that's going to cause her to bleed out even faster, and it's going to be worse, and now she's really just going to die. Okay, so that is why we see an image of him with the knife in his hand. He doesn't know what to do at this point. Of course, Annalise is like running down the hall after that, trying not to be caught in that place. I personally think this scene is what made her probably go into labor, which I personally think that she lost her baby, but that's probably the reason why, because of these traumatic events that have happened. So, of course, some type of way she must have gotten it set up so that, Wes didn't actually kill his mother, just so that somebody knows the truth. Yes, she did, kill herself. Okay, whatever the case, she is concerned about Wes. She said that, she would make sure that the lady's son was okay. So, of course, she goes to his house. She's trying to check on him. She writes him a little note, puts it under the door because he wasn't answering the door. Well, somebody takes that note and she hears somebody walking around inside. So she thinks it's Wes. So she opens the door. Why would the door be unlocked? Annalise, you're going to have to think. So the door was unlocked. She goes in. You don't see Wes. And we all know that Wes is like very, 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 very snappy when he's mad. Like, he's the type to be like, oh, what are you here for? Did you kill my mom? Did I kill my mom? Do you know what happened? Like, he is like on another level when he wants answers. So, of course, Wes wouldn't just be like standing in his apartment, hiding, quiet. I personally, the moment she walked in, I thought, oh my gosh, Phillip is going to come behind this door and stab this lady. Because I've already seen somebody stab themselves at this point in the episode. So then all of a sudden, her phone rings. It's Eve. Eve says, hey, Wes is here outside of my office. He wants answers. And she said, what? But of course, she's in his apartment. So she immediately says, call 911. Someone is in Wes's apartment. And then it was perfect because Phillip's dumb self reaches his hand from under the bed and grabs Annalise's foot to make her fall. Well, I say this is perfect because Eve can hear all of this commotion on the phone, so she knows this is an emergency situation. This was the last place that Annalise was at when she was speaking to me. That way they can get answers and the police can get there immediately, and she can send other people there as well. So I'm very excited about that. Looking forward to next week's episode. As always, like, comment, and subscribe, and check me out on mrsblogaholic.com. Have a good one. Bye.